difference between the secretive power of the blood of white and Negro men. Evidence is that the Supreme Being puts a higher estimate on white than on black. What a load of garbage. As colours or complexions consent to this difference by the blacks themselves, though incidental. Blah, 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 blah. 8th section. Woman of Egypt, marriage, African Negroes. Dreadful practices of the woman of Egypt, included in this section. Curious reason of the Jewish rabbi why the dogs would not eat the head and hands of Jezebel. Horrid customs of the African Negroes, etc., etc. 9th section. Dealing with or dealing in slaves. Pretended mental equality of the Negro race with white men refuted as held by abolitionists. Comparative view of the races as to their doings in the world proves that the ancient Egyptians nor any of the Negro nations were not the authors of either arts or sciences. Proves that the arts and sciences comprehending a knowledge of letters were known before the flood and in the house of Noah and by the first patriarchs, Abraham, etc. Curious discoveries made in the foundations of the Tower of Babel by Sir Robert Kerr Porter, and so forth. Down the bottom, their cruelties to their slaves. Meanness of the Negro spirit, their cruelties to their slaves, with many other curious matters. Section 10th or 10th section. Murdering of children among them. What's this? Anticipation of some men that amalgamation will finally become universal, so as to put down slavery in this way. Slavery among the African Negroes before they knew white men. Stealing each other, murdering of children among them. Many facts respecting the near approach of various Negro tribes to the form of the orangutan and all this sort of stuff. 11th section. Views of St. Paul. th to 15th section. No comments on this. Anyway, this is talking about Moses. God striking Miriam, the sister of Moses, with leprosy because she found fault with her brother for having married an Ethiopian woman, overturned and shown to be blasphemous, and so forth. First section, history of the Negro race. Origin and history of the Negro race. First section, complexion of the appearance of the human race. Kind of earth man was made of power of the Hebrew language in giving names. Adam and Eve, both called Adam by the Creator. Complexion of the antediluvians. Curious chronology of the holy seed from Adam to Jacob, the immediate head of the Jewish tribes. The opinions of some that Adam was created black. Refuted. Personal appearances of Adam and Eve in paradise before the fall, with many other curious matters. Okay, the truth here, Adam and Eve both called Adam because Eve came from Adam, from man, so she was considered Adam in that sense. That we may elucidate the subjects alluded to on the title page of this work, it is of importance to ascend very high toward the beginning of time in this investigation, even up to the creation of the first human pair. By this method and this only do we hope to arrive at length to a knowledge of the desired objects, to ascertain the true origin of the Negro or African race at the very threshold of the work. It is exceedingly appropriate, as without such a discovery we shall appear to wander where no light shines, to illume the way amidst the mazes of the ancient times. How often do we hear the questions like the following: from whence came the Ethiopian or black man? Who was his father? Did he spring from Adam or some other race? Can it be that from one and the same source the white, black and red portions of mankind proceeded with all the hues and shades of complexion which marked the human race? If so, Is it not exceedingly mysterious that there is not now, nor never has been, the occurrence of a variety so marked and distinctive as is black, white, and red, proceeding from the same parents, naturally? Well, there's actually information from sacredtext.com that mitochondrial DNA proves that that we're all Africans. And there's a mitochondrial Eve where supposedly all people came from. Go check it out. Sacredtext.com. You can put the link below so you can go have a look at it. It's under the African section. 60,000 years ago, there's like a amount of 100 people or less. They are from Africa. So that statement says mitochondrial DNA proves that we all came from Africa, etc. Whereas the biblical scriptures, the ancient Talmud, your modern Bible, etc., say it all began in the Garden of Eden, in somewhere in the Near East, Mesopotamia, Iraq or Iraq, Iran, around that area, by the rivers, Gishon, Pishon, Havilah, they're not rivers. The Gishon, the Pishon, the Euphrates, and the other one. It all came from the Garden of Eden was there apparently, so it all started there. But then we have a video where this guy actually says, look at the Israeli tourist board information, and it says that all countries were one giant landmass. So Israel, where Israel is now, that was part of Africa until the tectonic plates shifted, they rubbed together, they caused an earthquake, they caused volcanic eruption, molten lava, all this sort of stuff, and they separated. So you had these seas, these canals, like Suez Canal, etc., the Red Sea in between, etc. So yeah, Israel way back then, according to the Israeli Antiquities or Tourism Board that this particular Pan-African guy was explaining about. We have a video on that. You can probably find it and put it as an end screen so you can look at that as well. Stated. So yeah, this is very, very racist, bias, prejudice from this guy, Josiah Priest. And he bases it on the Hebrew language, translated. And he says here it is proper to inquire what then was the complexion of the two first of the human race, Adam and Eve, and the antediluvian world with the offspring. In relation to this extremely curious as well as interesting subject, we shall refer to a very ancient and a very learned historian, namely Flavius Josephus, who says in his works on the antiquities of the Jews, Book 1, page 12, that Adam, the first man, was created red. Go have a look at that and verify that it actually does. Red or ruddy. Because the soil was red, right? The following are his words. God took dust from the ground and formed man and inserted in him a spirit and a soul. This man was called Adam, which in the Hebrew tongue signifies one that is red or ruddy, because he is formed of red earth, compounded together. For of that kind is virgin or true earth. It's never been touched. Okay, this is way before Adam's curse and the ground was cursed because of his sin and weeds popped up, all that sort of stuff. So maybe he didn't have weeds then. Weeds didn't pop up amongst the vegetation. Wow, amazing. This kind of earth was Josephus calls virgin or pure earth, was no doubt of a very peculiar character and appearance, or he would not have called it pure or virgin earth, in distinction from all the other earths of the globe, of which it is said that there are 9. How this man came by a knowledge of this circumstance we cannot tell, except he derived it from the term Adam, or form a tradition of the patriarchs arising out of that circumstance, this creation from red earth and handed down from the house of Noah. For this very reason, doubtless it was written by Moses. Moses never wrote anything apparently, but everything was attributed to him, as far as we know. Genesis version 2, that God called the two parents of the human race by but one name, which was that of Adam, in which name was comprehended as well as their natures as their complexion. God did not give the first woman the name of Eve. It was Adam who did this, when he saw that she was to become the mother of all the human race. Adam was a name which God gave to the woman as well as to the man at first, as shown above from the text of Moses, as we already explained. She came from man, she was of man, from man. So Adam says, oh yeah, or the scriptures say, yeah, she's also Adam for that particular reason, because of that particular reason. The circumstances should not be allowed to pass till it shall have made its due impression upon the mind of the reader, which is as follows. Male and female created he them, and blessed them, and called their name Adam in the day when they were created. So which particular verse is that? Is that Genesis 1:27 or Genesis 2:7 that he's taking it from? Probably 2:7. In accordance with the statement of Josephus in rendering a reason why God called the two first human beings by but one name, and that name being Adam, or the red man and woman, we find that the Hebrew language establishes that the words Adam, Adamah, Adami, and Adma have all a similar meaning. First, Adam, as above, signifies earthly man. Red, second, Adama signifies red earth or blood. Third, Adami signifies my man red, earthy. Human. Fourth, Adma signifies earthy, red, or bloody. All of which words are the same class and spring from the same root, which is Adam, signifying red or copper colour. From a view of this fact, it is difficult to account for the reason of the name of the first man and woman unless they were created red instead of white or black, as it is well known that the Hebrew language is governed in its power of naming visible existences as of animals, fowls, fishes, by their appearance or natures, and frequently by both, as in the case of the name Adam, which not only represented the hue of his skin, but that also of his intellectual existence or human nature. Titus, that says thus. Thus the Jewish historian, Josephus, as well as the genius of the Hebrew language, furnishes us with a clue, like the golden thread in the labyrinth of the subterranean palace of ancient Thebes, leading to the right conclusion on this subject, namely that Adam with all the antediluvian race were red or a copper-coloured people. But on this subject there is other testimony corroborative of the above, though but incidentally afforded, and yet is of the highest possible authority. This evidence is found in the writings of Moses. Again, we stated that Moses didn't write anything. It was attributed to him by the Jews, who admitted to it, that they had to put names to their writings. It's part of their traditional custom. Jews have admitted that. In the book of Genesis, chapters 5 and 11, in this book is written by a competent hand a brief yet perfect history of the cosmogony of the earth, as well as narrative of the births and deaths of the patriarchs from the beginning of to the time in which he lived, a lapse of years consisting of 255.3 and about 1481 years before the birth of Josephus, who was a mere lad at the time of Christ's crucifixion, who was actually adopted by the Flavians. So that's why he was called Flavius Josephus or Josephus Flavius. This incident till evidence is in relation to the belief that Adam was created red as afforded by Moses, in tracing the genealogical descent of one of the sons of Adam, namely that of Seth, from his father down to the patriarch Jacob, who was the immediate progenitor of the 12 tribes of the house of Israel. Now, as the Jews are red or a dark copper coloured race in their pure and unamalgamated condition aids in proving that Adam was also of the same complexion, because Seth, an immediate son of Adam and Eve, was the direct progenitor of the Hebrew or Jewish people, commonly called the lineage of the Holy Seed. Well, I don't know about that one. Does it say in Genesis that the son replaced by God for Adam and Eve, named by Eve as another, because she states God gave her another in replacement of the one that Cain killed, Abel, so she called him Seth. It doesn't say that he was Jewish, or he was Hebrew Israelite, or he was this, he was that. It doesn't say he was this, it doesn't say he was that, it doesn't say he was white, black, green, yellow, whatever. It doesn't tell you that. It may say that in the actual Hebrew language, if you are a native speaker and you know that it does. That's like saying Nephilim means fallen angels. When you go look at the actual meaning of the word, it says, shock, surprise, ogre. It means ogre.